Still with 20.2, this time we're going to solve simultaneous equations that are derived from word problems. They can be a complete pain because there's a lot to read. Anyway, let's just do this and not avoid them because it's too much to read. And some of these are, it can be huge. So this is question 7 on page 294. John went to buy some of his favourite aftershave. One has to ask why. It is manufactured in 2 sizes. The small one has got X mil in it and the large one's got Y mil in it. If he bought 2 small ones, he would have 30 millilitres less than the amount in the larger one. First statement, first equation. The small one and the large one together contain a total of 135 millilitres. Second equation. How much aftershave is there in each size container? In other words, work out the X and the Y. So let's just decode the English. If he bought 2 small ones, in other words 2 lots of X's, he would have 30 millilitres less than the amount in the large one. In other words, if I take 2 small ones and give them an extra 30 to play with, I will get the equivalent of a large one. Why? See? Read the English carefully, extract the information, get an equation. The small one and the large one altogether come to 135. That's easy. Small plus large comes to 135 of aftershave. Alright, so I could, play with elimination or substitution. I'll do what I like, really. I'm not told what to do. So how about if I go Y equals 135 minus X, then I can take this little arrangement and shove it right in there. So I have an equation with X's in it. So why don't I do that? Stop crying about it. So 2X plus 30 comes to 135 minus X. There you go. Bring my minus X over and the plus 30 over, minus that and plus that. Let's just do it. So I've got 3 X's comes to 135, take away 30, 105, and thankfully it divides ever so nicely. So 105 millilitres shed out amongst 3 little pots or little bottles. I believe that's 35. Yeah, that is 35 millilitres of little bottle of aftershave. Now what about the big one? Well, that's even easier because I know that X plus Y is 135 and I know X is 35, so let's just shove it in there. So 35 plus large bottle equals 135, so therefore large bottle is going to be 135, take away the 35, and altogether we're going to have a 100 milliliter bottle of the finest perfume. So there it is. So little bottle 35, big bottle 100 milliliters. That's that. Easy question. What about the next one? Okay, whoa, too far. Now this is, it's a whole load to read, it really is a pain, but let's just do it. The equations are dead easy. Now Poppy and her 3 friends are going to a nightclub. Well, straight away I do not approve. I'll tell you why. Poppy and her 3 hens and her 3 friends should stay at home buying some pizza and watch a video. No messing about. It's a lot safer. What's the point? If you've got to have a little drink, have some Coke. Right, so Poppy and her 3 friends are going to a nightclub. It costs less to go in before 9 o'clock because of bedtime and that, than it does to go in after 9 o'clock when the big people go. Unfortunately, one of her friends can't get there before 9 PM. Well, she should stay home, shouldn't she? If 3 of them go in early and 1 later, it costs them 15 quid. So it's a really cheap, nasty place. Don't go. Her friend does not really want to go in on her own, so I suppose she can get somebody else to go in with her late. So if 2 go in early and 2 later, it costs 16 quid. I told you it's a cheap place. Now X is the early bird and Y is, the late bird, and find the 2 different costs of the entry, blah blah blah. Right, let's go carefully. It costs, right, what we got here? 3 of them go in early, so 3 lots of early pricing, so 3 X's, 3 of them going early and 1 late, well, plus 1 expensive late one, 1 Y, all comes to £15, which is, I told you, dead. That's 4 people, 15 quid. How cheap is that? It's probably McDonald's or something, I don't know. Next one, her friend doesn't want to go in by herself because she's late and it's late. So if 2 go in later with 2 of the other early birds, it will cost 16 quid. Right then, so I've got 2 earlies and 2 lates, comes to £16, and these are wonderful little equations, are they not? There you go. So I've got to find the cost of X and Y. It doesn't say I've got to do it by substitution, so tell you what, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it by eliminating. So if I multiply this by 2 and leave this one on its own by multiplying by himself, but rather, sorry, multiplying by 1, it's an easy equation, look at it. So I've got 6x plus 2y comes to £30, and I've got 2x plus 2y comes to £16. If I subtract, the 2 y's have gone, bye-byes. 6x take away 2x is 4x, 30 take away 16 is 14. I hope I haven't got this. Anyway, so divide by 4, I've got 14 quid divided by 4 little children. Ask the calculator quickly. That is 7 and half it. It's £3.50. So what sort of nightclub's that then? Anyway, £3.50 for the x. Let's work out the y's now. If I take this maybe and shove that in there, I can work out the y. So here I go. In yellow, I've got 3 lots of £3.50 plus the cost of the late entry comes to £15 all told. So 3 lots of £3. What's that? That's £10.50, isn't it? So £10.50 plus late entry cost is 15 quid. So the late entry cost y is 15. Take away the £10.50. So if you're late, girls, what you need to do, you're going to have to pay £4.50 to get into that one there. There you go. That'll teach you, wouldn't it? Right, that's that. So x is early entry, £3.50. There it is. Oops, didn't mean to cross it out. And y is the late entry cost, £4.50. And there it is. Thank you. Give me 4 marks. So that's 2 of the questions done. And here's the next one. Now this is Susie. Now I've got to get into the English carefully here. I mean the maths is easy, but the English is really tricky. Now Susie is X years old and her brother is Y years old, okay? Don't interchange them. Susie is X, brother is Y. Susie is 5 years older than her brother. I can figure an equation coming on. Susie is 5 years older than her brother. In other words, Susie equals her brother if he adds 5 years onto his age. That's an equation. Now they both have an auntie who is 45 years old. Now obviously to you that's really, really old. To me it's quite young. Now the aunt is 3 times her brother's age plus Susie's age. That's another equation. So auntie is 3 times her brother's age, so 3 lots of y plus the age of Susie comes to the age of auntie, which is 45. There are my 2 simultaneous equations. How old are Susie and her brother? Remember, if we get x, it's Susie's age. If we get y, it's the brother's age. So what can I do? I can shove in the x plus 5 while I'm at it. That's there. Sorry, the y plus 5 straight into where the x is here in the second equation by substitution, because it lends itself really well to doing so. So here I go. Let's work here so it stays together. I've got 3y plus y plus 5 comes to auntie's age of 45. So it's like having 4 brothers, 4 y's, plus an extra 5 years comes to 45. So these 4 brothers are 45 take away 5, 40 years old. So the single brother on his own comes to 40 divided by 4. It's a 10-year-old boy. Now what about Susie? Well, Susie is X, isn't she? Now Susie is brother plus 5 years old. Well, brother is a 10-year-old child, and an extra 5 years makes Susie 15 years old. Alright, lovely question. It's just sweet, it's really nice. Hopefully I've got time for question 10. This one's a little bit more tricky. It's one of these problem solving things that causes you to pull out all of your hair. Now, 2 ways of doing this one I believe, but it yields the same answer anyway, so just trust what I'm about to do. I've got 2 teenagers and they got heights of x and y. So 2 teenagers, x, y. Whatever answer I get for x could easily be the same for y and vice versa. It doesn't matter how I set up the equation. Now I'll explain that as I go along. If you add together their heights, they measure 2.53 meters in total, but their difference in heights is 11 centimeters. Now this is the bit you may disagree with. Difference means x minus y equals 11, or y minus x equals 11. It doesn't matter. Whichever way you do it, we'll get a certain answer for one teenager, say x, and the corresponding other answer for the other teenager, y. But if I say y minus x equals 11, then I get an answer for y and then an answer for x. It doesn't matter who gets what height, as long as they each get the correct height. Doesn't matter. Right, write down two simultaneous equations. Well, let's just do it then. Right, add their weights together and comes to 2.53. So x plus y comes to 2.53, and that's meters. Alright? First equation. Second equation, x minus y. This is the difference. Now it's 11 centimeters, therefore 0.11 meters. Really, really easy, isn't it? Now, let's just do it by, I don't know, subtraction. If I subtract these two equations, I'm going to get rid of the x's straight away. Good night. And I've got y minus y, which is 2y, and 2.53 take away 0.11, 2.42, so it's 2 meters 42 centimeters for two of these teenagers. So, well, two y teenagers. So now just divide by 2, 1.21 meters. Alright, so the height of one teenager is 1.21 meters. Now, what about the other child? Well, I'm going to work with this equation right here. I could shove this y into here, and I will do just that. So working on the right hand side just here now, I've got x plus 1.21 comes to 2.53. So x on their own will be 2.53, subtract 1.21, and that will give me, stick in my head, 1.32 meters. And that's my two answers. Now, if you were to work out a different way, you might get y to be 1.32 and the x to be 1.21. Doesn't matter. But there's your two answers, and it's great. It's easy, isn't it? So that's simultaneous equations done in terms of forming them from word problems, and that's 2.2 finished. So get watching. See you later.